has outlined very clearly to this House the challenge that this government has presented to the country, the challenge of having a government that has no plan, no ideas, no vision and no action. And the challenge for New Zealanders is getting harder every day. In the health area, every week we have further reports of new health cuts. Frontline health services cut, patients going without any services at all, and the Minister who promised to the country that there would be no frontline health services cut, who promised to move resources in health from the back room to the front line, the Minister who now stands up in this House washing his hands of all ministerial responsibility. Well, I say to that Minister, if it's good enough to take the credit for the hard work that doctors and nurses and the health bureaucracy actually deliver around the country, then it's good enough to take responsibility when things go bad, and they are absolutely going bad in health. Mr. Speaker, this afternoon in the House, I asked the Minister of Health about the quote from Bill English where he said that we're going to cut low-value services. I asked the Minister of Health whether the 3,000 elderly people in Otago and Southland who have had their home support cut have been getting low-value services. It's not low value to them, Mr. Speaker. Those home support services, 1.5 or 2 hours of home help in their own home for older people, Mr. Speaker, in your very own part of the country, that great part of the country, Southland, and in your next door neighbour, Otago, for them, that is the difference between being safe and well in their own home and having to move into a rest home. And that's what the Minister of Health has cut. For 3,000 people in that region, Otago, Southland, their home support has been cut. In Nelson, the Minister of Health's benchmate electorate until the election next year, in Nelson, mental health services have been cut. Mr. Speaker, I think it's very obvious to everyone that that is not an area where we have excess services. We don't have a lot of spare capacity in mental health. If anything, we need more resources and support going into mental health, but in Nelson, those services have been cut. In Palmerston North, and soon to be in Levin, for the first time that I can recall, we have actually had nurses laid off, nursing positions disestablished, while those people are in their job. Mr. Speaker, it's an outrage that the people in Levin who fought so hard to ensure that the services that were retained in the Horowhenua Health Centre are now being told that all the work they put in, all the commitment they put into getting a deal with the government of the time has now been ripped up, has now been thrown out. All that passion from the people of Levin and Otaki and Waikanai and Shannon, those surrounding areas, that's all been thrown in the rubbish bin by Tony Rowe. But, Mr. Speaker, I want to tell you that in the budget next month, things are going to get worse. I have figures provided by the district health boards about what they expect their increases this year to be in the budget, and if we think it's bad now, wait till we see the budget. In the last budget, Canterbury District Health Board got $51 million. They're expecting just over $36 million this year. Mr. Speaker, that won't allow them to stay still, let alone offer any improvements. In Mid-Central, the area that I've just referred to, already cutting frontline health services, cutting nurse positions in Levin, taking away all the ATNR beds at the Horowhenua Health Centre, cutting out the district nursing for terminally ill Palmerston North citizens. Last year they had an increase of $26.5 million. This year they're going to get $11 million. That is a cut, actually, and Tony Rowe, the Minister, will have to justify that. The South Canterbury Board, just managing to hold things together there, 5,000 fewer people going through their emergency department. Last year got just under $6 million increase. This year in the budget, it will be less than $5 million increase. Mr Speaker, the manifesto of the National Party should say health cuts, not health services.
Mr Speaker, thank you, Mr Speaker. Thank you.